Shall I begin now, Swamiji? May I begin now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It is wonderful to be here and to join all of you online. And I thank Swami Jnaneshwari for her very kind words. She herself is a wonderful teacher, and it is all due to the grace of the Guru, the grace of the lineage, and the grace of Bhagavan, Ishvara. And today we will be having this session. I think it's about an hour. Am I correct? Swamiji, can I go for an hour for this session or should I wrap
Yes,
up?
yes, you have an hour. You have
Okay.
an hour for this.
So, thank you. So, this session will be for about an hour and we will talk about a mantra from the Kenopanishad. The Upanishads are a very, they are the primal and sacred texts of the tradition, and they have a a vision, a vision that is about you, the jiva, the individual. All the Upanishads have this vision, and the vision is that it is mainly the vision comprises two things. First is whatever you think of yourself, you are not. And whatever you want to be and you strive to be, you already are. In fact, that's the whole vision. So, part A, whatever you think you are not. I am as good as the body. No. I'm an idiot. No. I'm a donkey. No. I don't love myself. No, not true. Nobody else also loves me. Not true. So none of this is true. Nobody loves me. I'm not lovable. I don't love anybody either. And I have self critique. I have self judgment. I am subject to fear. I am subject to finitude, meaning endings. I'm subject to endings. And one day I will also come to an end. All this is the what can I say, the individual's ideas about the self, about the I judge myself, and other people are also judgmental of me. This is my conclusion, and the final conclusion is I am subject to bondage, samsara. Samsara means what? Some sorrow or another. That is what samsara is. Full of some kind of sorrow or another. And because of this, I'm subject to bondage. I'm subject to fear. I'm subject to, I'm incomplete. And I'm subject to coming to an end. And that prospect of coming to an end at any time, because I don't know when that will happen, when Lord Yama will pay a visit. Lord Yama is the is the devata of death. When Lord Yama will pay a visit, I do not know. And all this fills the heart, fills the mind with great dread. And so the that one is going to be dead is a subject matter of great uh, dread. And this is exactly how the human understanding of oneself. And in fact, it's not, if we look at it carefully, these assumptions are not just an individual's understanding. If it was one individual, okay, then you can say that that person may be mistaken. But it is a collective understanding. Understanding because it's really a non understanding. It's a collective understanding, so to speak. Or should I say, it's better put as a collective misunderstanding. It's a collective misunderstanding because there is no there is no basis for this, for any of this. But who is going to tell us that? It's like the person mired in these thoughts and these feelings cannot have that insight. That's why, because the one is already compromised by that infrastructure of incompleteness, the infrastructure of self critique and self judgment, self loath. One is already compromised. So, how can the person, being subject to these kinds of self misunderstanding, come to the correct understanding? Not possible. Not possible at all. Therefore, the knowledge has to come from outside this infrastructure, outside the ahankara, the I notion, outside this scheme of things where the misunderstandings reside, in which buddhi means the intellect. Outside that intellect, the answers must come. That's why, with every cycle of creation, the Vedas are created. The Vedas means knowledge, body of knowledge. And so the Veda literally means knowledge. And so the body of knowledge called the Vedas are created with every cycle of creation. And you know why? So that one can come out of this conundrum simply and effortlessly by listening to the teachings with an open heart, an open mind. That is what is needed. This is exactly what is needed. Because the bondage, even though there are songs in the tradition, bhajans, saying this is an ocean of bondage, the so called ocean of bondage is nothing but a notion of bondage. This is what the Upanishads, meaning the second portion of the Vedas, reveal. That is what they have to tell you. That what you thought is an ocean is actually a notion of bondage. And this was what is illustrated in one of the songs by the great saint poetess of the 14th century medieval India by the name of Mirabai. Mirabai sings, she went to her guru for swimming lessons. How should I swim in the ocean of samsara in order to simply stay afloat? Because as soon as I find myself in this big, huge, limitless, so to speak, body of water, there is something pulling at my leg, and to my horror, I turn back. It's a shark. And then, as I try to run away from the shark and get my leg free, then there is my hand with which I would have freed myself is entangled in the seaweeds of despair and hopelessness. Then, of course, there are hidden riptides of doubt, fear, and tsunami of sorrow. So, this is the ocean of samsara. All kinds of dangerous things lurk in this ocean, in this entire ecosystem of dread, where I am, I may as well be named Sam. Oh, so your name is Sam? Why is your name Sam? Because I am either Flot Sam or Jet Sam. That's what I am. I am like a piece of lost driftwood in this huge, big ocean. And then there I am, just at the mercy of the winds, the water, the tides, the moon, and Mother Nature. And then I am just cast to the shore sometimes, and then sucked in by the waves another time. And this way I am just being battered about. by, by the waves of outrageous fortune. This is why she went to the Guru. She said, maybe the Guru will give me a mantra to stay afloat, maybe some swimming lessons. How should I swim in the ocean of samsara? Is front stroke better or back stroke better or butterfly stroke? What should I do? These were the questions with which she went to a teacher, because she was intelligent enough to know that she could not sort out this issue herself. In fact, the question itself was wrong. That I want to swim and glub, 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 kind of stay afloat in the ocean of samsara, that was already a mistaken notion. But in the hands of the teacher, she received the correct instruction. She says that the teacher made the entire ocean disappear. Oh, and I looked. There is no need to swim because the entire ocean is gone. The whole ocean is gone. And in fact, I have understood that the ocean is but a notion. How did this happen? She says, because the Guru revolutionized my vision. In fact, when there was no ocean, I was seeing an ocean because of the cataracted vision. The cataracts in the vision made me see an ocean when it was just a bunch of wrong notions, to which I had become very attached because I could not see beyond that. And so, this is the nature of the knowledge. The knowledge does not, so Vedanta, or the knowledge of freedom from samsara, Upanishad, it does not really transform the universe, because the universe is as it is, since it is a projection of the goddess, of the Lord and the goddess together. We uh, uh, we don't have a oh, I'm being asked to go slower. Okay, yes, apologies. So because of the translation, I will slow down. So since the answers are there already, one is told to one is told to go to the teacher, not to seek new knowledge, not to seek new knowledge, but to get rid of all kinds of notions. So, if samsara is not an ocean, then when samsara disappears, along with samsara, the ocean of samsara, all the ills that are there also disappear. And what are the ills that are there? You know, just like the shark. Maybe the shark represents death, the seaweeds of despair, and the tsunami of sorrow, and then maybe the undercurrents, riptides, and dangerous waves of delusion. Delusion in Sanskrit is called moha, delusion. So all this is what is this is the problem. And so when that ocean of samsara disappears, along with that, all the whole ecosystem, if you can call it that, the whole world itself, the whole world of everything being finite also disappears. So the message of the Upanishad is not something new. It is in keeping with the human yearning, the universal human yearning. So here we have a very interesting paradox. There is a universal human yearning, And if we look generally at the yearning, not at each person's individual goals or ambitions, no, but if we look collectively at what is represented by the individual goals and ambitions of each person, we find that the human quest universally is to be free, is to be limitless. Free of what? Free of anything that one doesn't want, is to be limitless, without any limits. That is why everybody likes working from home, because there is no boss breathing down the neck, and there is some freedom there. And so, like this, one wants to be free, one wants to be whole, one wants to be limitless, one wants to be infinite, whatever that means. One wants to be free of disease, death, all these things, free of the internal conflict of thinking that I am not loved, free of self judgment, free of self loath, free of fear of myself, free of fear of others, free of fear of what we call God, Ishvara. All this is the freedom that one wants. You ask anybody in any language, do you want to be whole? What will the answer be? It will be universally yes. Do you want to be free? Yes. Do you want to be complete? Yes. Do you like being self judging? No. Do you like being insecure? No. Do you like feeling that your life is going to come to an end and that's it? No. This is a universal quest. And so here we have a paradox. The universal quest to be whole, free, and limitless is in conflict with one's conclusions about oneself. And what is that conflict? The conflict is that I, I don't like myself. This is the conflict. I am finite, yet I want to be infinite. I am subject to sorrow, yet I want to be happy. I am bound by time, yet I want to be timeless. I am I am having a lot of self hatred, yet I want to have self love. This is this is the paradox. The very strange paradox. Paradox means opposite. So how can these two completely opposite feelings possess and thoughts possess the same person? How is that even possible? We have to ask ourselves that question. How can the same person have self doubt and yet somewhere, somehow inside oneself, know that one is confident, know that one is free, know that one is full, know that one is whole? How is that even possible? We have to ask ourselves that question. It's very, very interesting. So, how can these two completely contradictory thoughts coexist? Well, they coexist very interestingly and effortlessly, so to speak, because one, no matter how difficult the life is, no matter how challenging, still one holds on to the hope that it will get better and the life will be more in keeping with my idea of how I want it to be. Because somewhere one knows it's the truth. And so the working definition of the I doesn't work at all. It's a non working definition. The so called working definition, so called temporary definition, is a non working definition. That is why the Upanishad is created along with the human beings, along with the universe. Because endowed with a free will. It is as though Bhagavan knows that we can only come to grief blessed with the free will. Blessed by the free will, one is free enough to judge oneself. And this is true only of the human being. If we look at nature, no other form of life, trees, animals, birds, none of them, big cats in the forest, none of them flout the universal flow. They do not transgress God's creation, Ishvara's creation. They do not transgress universal laws of how their life is meant to be. The oak tree, which grows in the forest, does not say, "What is this? My grandmother was an oak, my great grandmother was an oak, and my great great grandmother was also an oak, and that is not okay with me." It is just not okay to be an oak. I need something different. And I'm tired of being in the forest. No light, all full of what is that? Just a lot of darkness and so many leaves and all these things. And I need to take myself to the beach. You don't see an oak tree on the beach, not even one. And likewise the moon, the stars, the sun, none of them go against the laws. They all follow universal laws, except for one particular iteration or manifestation of Ishvara, which is who? The human being, namely ourselves. It is as though we have a constant discontentment centered on the self, a constant pain, a constant fear, a constant dread, a constant sense of not enough, insecurity. I want more. This is not enough. This is not enough. This is not enough. This is only the human lot. Because, as I said before, the free will is free enough for one to make a judgment on oneself. And that is why the Upanishad is here, to make us overcome and to make us overcome these wrong understandings of the self that have been internalized for generation after generation. In fact, for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. This is what it is. We have been laboring under the wrong conclusion. I am only as good as my body. I am not this. I am not that. I want to be famous. Why? Because I want to matter. I want to be rich. Why? Because I'm insecure. I want to. I want to leave a legacy. Why? Because I don't want to be decimated. This is why many people have children, because they want to leave something after they are gone, something that looks like them. Many people want that continuity. But then the Upanishad says that you are what you seek. You are already what you want to be. Oh, I think it's a tall order. How can I be already what I want to be? How can I be secure? How can I have self love? How can that be true when I'm all the time judging myself? All the time? Yeah, all the time. Wait, in sleep also you judge yourself? No, exactly. You don't judge yourself all the time. There is an aberration. In sleep, there is no self-judgment. And likewise, there is no self-judgment in the in the waking state also. When you laugh at a joke, when you see a small child which is smiling, when you see some incredible feat of nature like sunset, northern lights, whatever it is, a valley of flowers, and at that time, this querulous, complaining, self-judging, demanding, insecure, and critical, self-critical and critical of others. This person is not there in those times. Where did he go? Where did she go? Nobody knows. Instead, what comes out is an appreciative, contented, and a non-demanding person. That is the one that is invoked. That is the one that comes out to play. And so one of these is wrong, correct? You can't be both broken and whole at the same time, timeless and timed at the same time. You can't be both complaining and non complaining at the same time. It's not possible. One of them is the truth, the other one is an impostor. The question is, which one? And for that, the answer is, which one do you want to be? Are you happy being a complaining person? No. If you ask a complaining person in your life, are you happy being a complaining person? They will have a lot of complaints about that. I don't know why I'm so complaining. I wish I could be less critical. I wish I could be more appreciative. This is what they would say. Very, very interesting. Even the complaining person has a complaint about being complaining. The critical person has criticism about being critical. The judgmental person, first, before judging the world, judges himself or herself in a very harsh light. And the demanding person demands to be non-demanding. I want to be non-demanding, demands on that. And so we can see that the wrong conclusion is something that one wants to get rid of very, very, very quickly. And that is why we have Upanishad. Shad means to shed. Actually, I think it should be called Upanishad, okay? Because it makes you shed all the wrong notions. And so, shad means to shed. But then, okay, I shed these notions, but will it come back? Will they all come back? No. The word shad means that which goes away, all the wrong ideas that go away and never ever come back. They do not return. And this is what the Upanishad is about. And so, and how do we know this? Because there is a promise made in one of the shad is the word, and it has two suffixes, upa and ni. Ni means nishchayena, definitely. Definitely a promise is made that you are the whole, and you are something that is, you are total, you are free, you are complete, and you will know this for sure. Definitely. And this samsara will go away, provided you listen to the Upanishad, the message of the Upanishad. And Upa means the subject matter of the Upanishad is something extremely dear to your heart, which is really yourself alone. And so this is the Upanishad. And so in like this we have many Upanishads. Some people say 108, some people say 1008. Doesn't matter for us, because all of them have the same message: to get rid of sorrow, insecurity, fear, etc., and to reveal that you are non separate from the whole. That is what the message is. And so there are 10 Upanishads that have Adi Shankara. Yesterday, Swami Sita ji pointed out Adi Shankara. It is in the prayer hall. So you can see that, made of that granite stone. And so this is that one, the Adi Shankara. He wrote commentaries, original works, commentaries describing and interpreting the Upanishads in the light of the lineage. So he wrote commentaries for 10 Upanishads, and those are generally what people like to study, because the commentary becomes a very invaluable tool to understand what the Upanishad is saying. So among these 10, the Kenopanishad, a mantra of which we will be seeing today, is the one that is one of these 10, called as primary Upanishads, major Upanishads. People use all these terms. We need not use them. We can just say one of the Upanishads. Kenopanishad. What is this funny name, Kenopanishad? Kena means, the word Kena means by whom, by which force, by whom. And it is simply the first word of the Upanishad. The Upanishad begins thus: Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. Very interesting and a very deep question. The student asked the question. What is the question? Kena ishitam. Impelled by whom? Ruled by whom? Planned by whom? Kena ishitam. Preshitam. Preshitam means provoked by whom? Patati manaha. The mind falls, or rather, the thoughts fall into the mind. This is a very interesting question. It's not the run of the mill question that people ask in the world. For this, there must be a lot of deep inquiry. We find this very interesting. So, impelled by whom do thoughts fall into the mind? Very fascinating. Impelled by whom do the thoughts fall into the mind? Meaning, what do you mean by that? Because I am the one who is thinking, correct? I am the one who is having the thoughts. So you should be asking me, how come you are having these thoughts? But the one who is asking the question here, impelled by whom do these thoughts fall into the mind, is actually understood a very important and a very basic concept. And what is that basic concept? You are not in charge of your thoughts. What is going to be your next thought? Tell me. Please tell me what is going to be your next thought. You can't. You don't know. Even if you say, I'm going to plan to think of an apple, that's going to be my next thought. Then how did the thought of going to think about an apple come? Who put that thought in the mind? So, very deep question. Shows that there is some understanding that one doesn't call all the shots. In fact, as we progress in this knowledge, we understand that we don't call any of the shots. None of the shots we call. We don't control anything. We cannot. Starting with our own thought patterns. We don't control really anything. So the whole Upanishad is an answer to that first question. Impelled by whom do the thoughts fall into the mind? And how does the respiration, digestion, and the circulation, excretion, all these things, how do they take place? How do they take place? Prakena pranaha, prayukti. Does the prana connect to the body? How does this happen? And who is thinking these thoughts? Who is speaking these words? Oh, come on. I am the one speaking these words. I mean, you don't need, it's not rocket science to see that I am speaking. And I'm the one who is speaking these words. Yes, we can see that, the Upanishad would say. We can see that you are speaking. But then, what what is the whole chain of events that has to fall into place for even one word to come out of the mouth? For even one word to come out of the mouth. So there should be first the physical infrastructure. Throat should be there to make all the guttural sounds, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, all the Sanskrit consonants to articulate them. Throat should be there, and then the palate should be there, and the lips should be there to make labial sounds, pa, pha, ba, bha, ma, and all the words that start with it. And then the throat should also be there for the swaras. Swaras means the vowels. And then palatal letters are there. Palate should be there. Like when you say cha, cheese, there's a different way the mouth operates. And then the teeth should be there for words to be formed. That's why when there are toothless babies, they talk baby talk. They lisp. Like if there are no teeth, you can't, you can barely articulate the dental consonants. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. And then the dental sibilant, sa. You can't articulate that. And so many things begin with these sounds. So many words in so many languages. Think about it. Not just in Sanskrit. I'm just giving the Sanskritam example here. So then all these sounds, the mouth should be capable physically. The infrastructure should be there, capable of making these sounds, capable of understanding these sounds. And then what else? The words don't form by themselves. The tongue should be there to form the words. And then not only that, speech does not happen by itself. Behind the speech, the buddhi, the intellect is there. And behind the buddhi, what is there? You say nothing. What is there behind the buddhi? It's my own buddhi that is doing this. But if you look at the buddhi and you say, today the buddhi is feeling extremely dull, what are you saying? That means there is something else other than the buddhi or operating the buddhi. The buddhi itself is an object, and then there is a subject that is there behind the buddhi, beyond the ahankara, the I notion. And then you see that it is the inner niyanta. Niyanta means the one who is the inner controller, so to speak, because of the presence of that witness. And who is this witness? Nothing but awareness. So the witness, who is the awareness, is the one that is articulating, is the one that is making the vak, speech, capable of speech, making the body capable of respiration, digestion, circulation, all these things. And so there is a force there. Who is that force? Where is that force? This is what the subject matter of this Upanishad is all about. The entire Upanishad is about this particular subject matter. That what is this? What is this I? What on earth is this I? How do I know this I? And is this I what I think I am? Because it doesn't look like it is what I think I am. There must be something else. And so therefore, there is, there's some mimamsa or analysis to be done. So these are the questions. These are the set of questions. The student. Who is the student? An unnamed student. The Kenopanishad is not big on stories. We all love stories. Nachiketa and Lord Yama. Ooh, that's nice. And then Yajnavalkya, the sage, talking to Maitreyi. Lovely. We are not, we love these kinds of stories. But the Kenopanishad is for people who are more uh, thinkers and who want to understand this, who want to analyze this. And so the Upanishad gets straight to the point. And the Upanishad reveals, so the student goes to the teacher because this is something to learn. And in the process of learning, there may be questions, there may be difficulties, and so there may be doubts. And all that has to be aired out, and a conversation called a respectful conversation called samvada is to be had with the teacher. And so, who is this? So we don't care who is the student, who is the teacher. We do not know, but the student asks all the questions, and the teacher responds. The teacher's response is very, very interesting. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyat vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranah. And then chakshushas chakshuhu atimuchya dhiraha pretyasman lokadamrita bhavanti. Very interesting. So, how do the ears hear? Well, the teacher says that's because there is the ear of the ear. Shrotrasya shrotram. The eye of the eye. The prana of the prana. And the vak, the speech of the speech. All of these, they have an overseer. In other words, the the ear of the ear is not different from the eye of the eye. The eye is different from the ear, but the ear of the ear and the eye of the eye are one and the same. What is that? I, the letter I, not the I, okay? Yeah. That is the one. So the one that is here is the one that is free of those particular things. Totally free. So the eye of the eye is that sakshi, the witness, that awareness, because which blesses the ear to hear, which blesses the mouth to speak, which blesses the words to form, which blesses, as it were, the eyes to see without becoming any one of them. It is that awareness, it is that infinite consciousness which is limitless, which is whole, which is not self judging, which is not judging others. That consciousness is, in fact, you. This is the revelation. That consciousness is you. It cannot be outside of you. How can it be outside of you? It cannot be outside of you at all. Because if there is a consciousness outside of you, if that consciousness is non separate from God, Ishvara, if that awareness is outside of you, then it cannot be called limitless. Why? Because it has excluded you. Limitless means there should be no limits. It should all be one. That is the idea. And so the teacher gives a very interesting answer and says that it is the eye of the ear, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, the prana of the prana. All this is what it is. And then where can I find this consciousness? How can I grab a hold of this consciousness? Because it seems so precious. I want to look at it. I want to put it in a box for safekeeping and put it in the locker and lock it up because it is so precious. Where is this? And then the teacher says, Na tatra chakshur gacchati na vag gacchati no manah na vidmo na vijanimah yatha yatha itad anushishyat. And the teacher expresses a certain helplessness. We don't know how to teach this. Obviously, the teacher is teaching, but it's not taught as though, one is teaching about a fruit. This is a mango. It is orange in color with a little hint of yellow and green. And you cut it in this way. You have to be careful how you cut it. Otherwise, you can't enjoy it properly. It has to be cut in thirds, not in half like other fruits, because it has a big flat pit in the middle. So you have to align the knife so that it doesn't go through the pit. It comes on either side. And then it has a thick skin. And then it has a juicy and fleshy and very nice tasting orange colored fruit. This is the mango. I can describe it as an object. But then this consciousness, this sakshita, this awareness, this witness, which blesses you to talk, which is the indweller of the body, mind, sense complex, which is self-aware because of which you say, I am, I exist. How? How does it? How does it look? Is it like the mango? No. It is not like anything that you can see in the whole world. Therefore, na tatra chakshur gacchati. The eyes do not go there. Navag gacchati. The speech does not go there to describe what it is like, cannot go there. The manaha. The mind cannot go there and grasp it as some kind of even a concept, because there are many things you cannot see. Like gravity, you cannot see. But you certainly feel it. When you have a fall, you certainly feel the gravity. Or you can write theories about it. Like what is the gravitational force, etc., like Newton did. You can write theories. But then you can't see it. You can't objectify it. Similarly, this consciousness is even more subtle than gravity, even more subtle, not at all subject to objectification. It is not an object, it is you, the subject. So therefore, the teacher says, I myself I'm at a loss. How to tell you this? How to tell you that this is not an object? Yathaita Danushishyad, how is this to be taught? And then, but he says that, and then he continues to teach. The teacher continues to teach. He says, Anyadeva tad viditat, atho aviditat adhi. Anyadeva tad viditat. Viditat anyat eva. It is this is how we started the talk, that whatever you think about yourself is not at all what you are. Anyadeva tad viditat. It is completely different from who you are. Athau aviditat adhi. It is also not complete ignorance of the I either. And tad atho aviditat athi. We don't know how to instruct somebody about this. It is separate from the known, and it is not totally unknown. Why is it not unknown? Because if I ask you the question just now, are you here? What will you say? Hmm? What will you say? Will you say, I will find out and then get back to you? Will you say that? Is that what you will say? No. You will say, yes, I am here. And there is no doubt in that. There is absolutely no doubt in that at all. You will not say, let me find out, give me some time, I will, I will get back to you. In fact, even as the translators translated the question, immediately the answer would have come. Yes, I am here. And what is it that makes you say, I am here? Because that I is not an object at all. It is, in fact, the subject. It is that awareness. It is that consciousness at all. And it is known. It is known. The I is known. It's not that the I is totally unknown, because how can you teach about a totally unknown I? You cannot. And it is not that it is known because you don't know what it is fully. So, it is easy to say that the I is known, but the I is full of mistakes. It is known, all right, but that knowledge is subject to many, many, many errors. So many mistakes, so many errors, and these errors have to be taken away. And when those errors are gone, and the teacher says, we have heard it from our teachers, and we are going to teach you like how our teachers taught us. And when these errors connected to the I are gone, the atimuchyanti, one becomes free of this samsara that we talked about. One becomes free of this samsara. And then the Upanishad goes on and on to present a series of paradoxes, like that you cannot see with your eyes, but that which the eyes are by which the eyes are able to see. That force, that consciousness which makes the eye see. That is what we are talking about. Like this, all kinds of things are, there's a series of wonderful paradoxes. And then it it ends, this whole section ends in a very, very interesting verse, a mantra. Iha ched avedit, atha satyam asti. न चेत् इह अवेदीत् महती विनष्टिः भूतेषु भूतेषु विचित्य धीराः प्रेत्य अस्मान् लोकात् अमृताः भवन्ति. So the Upanishad concludes this particular section on a very important note before switching to another subject matter. And so what is this important note? Iha means in this body, when one knows. When one knows this without a shadow of doubt, without a shadow of error, without any vagueness, when one knows this fully, then atha satyam asti, that life can be said to have been led. Oh, the other lives are not led. They are led, but they are led, in a way that one is as heavy as lead. Okay, one is a burden to Mother Earth because one is not doing what one is supposed to do because of being in this body, in this precious human body with a thinking buddhi, a thinking intellect, a thinking mind. The reason why we have this human body is so that one can gain this knowledge. So that one can gain this knowledge. Otherwise, one would be as good as a dog or a cat. Cat life. In fact, cat life is very uncomplicated. Keeps going and doesn't care what people think of it, and it will just lead its life. Unlike the dog, it doesn't even have to be loving and lovable. It just is in its own glory. So one could have been a cat. Maybe we have already had so many lives as cat, dogs, and so many things. But somehow, given this beautiful chance here, with a human life, with a thinking mind able to grasp the truth of the self, if this life is wasted, then the Upanishad is not happy about it. Dire consequences come to the one who wastes this life. And then what happens to the one who does not, who takes heed of this advice and exposes oneself in a committed way to this knowledge that is also given? and both we shall see after we come back from the break. I'm not sure how big the break is. If somebody could tell me, that would be nice.
Om Namah Shivaya, Swamini. Thank you very much. Yes, it's going to be about half an hour, about
Yes,
half an
thank
hour
you.
break between. Okay, so
Okay,
it,
so in half an hour, because after that we have Kaivalya Upanishad also. So I will
okay,
take some time from this and then finish this mantra, and then we will go to the talk on the on immortality. All right.
okay. Thank you
Om
very
Tat
much,
Sat.
Swamini. Om Namah
Om
Shivaya.
Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya
Purnasya
Purnamadaya
Purnamada.
Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will end our